Dentistry is no longer a dream, it's the reality. Dr. Michael's fantastic staff can help you out with a no-interest payment plan. We all have to go to the dentist, so do not put it off any longer. Call and make an appointment today. You deserve to feel confident about your smile, so go see my new dentist, Dr. James Michaels at Economawalk Dental Care.
So right now may be the perfect time for you to rethink how you pay for health care. And here's why. This time of year is decision time for a lot of people, but it's also when you can join MediShare and save even more than usual. For many families, joining MediShare means saving about $500 a month, which is a game changer for a lot of people, obviously. But what's more, MediShare members like it a lot. Their satisfaction rate is 98%. Imagine that. And MediShare is a proven thing, too, for over 30 years. It's a Christian community of hundreds of thousands of people now. And here's the thing. If you join before November 15th and you mention the promo code SHARE, they'll waive your application fee. So you save even more right off the bat. I'll give you the number here in a second, but just call and you'll get a price within 2 minutes. And again, the deadline is November 15th. So call now. You'll save even more. Here's the number. 877-64-BIBLE. That's 877-64-BIBLE. 877-64-BIBLE.
Protect mom's assets. Protect your assets. Call Krause Estate Planning, estateplanningpeople.com.
Election Day is finally here. Keep it tuned here to WTMJ for everything you need to know about the 2024 presidential race. Join us for our special programming starting at 6 p.m. tonight as we go wall to wall through the overnight hours to bring you the latest news and numbers of the presidential race. We are your central headquarters for Election Day coverage. News Radio 620, WTMJ, Milwaukee.
It's 11:01. I'm Greg Matzik. This is Wisconsin's Midday News for Tuesday. It's Election Day, your top story, taking time to do your civic duty.
I'm Jessica Ty. So what happens after you cast that ballot?
Well, you might get wet today. Mostly cloudy, windy, mild. Scattered showers possible and a high of 68 degrees. Breezy and cooler tonight with a low of 46. Tomorrow, no rain, but partly cloudy and a high of 55 degrees. 63 and cloudy in Milwaukee at 11:02 from the WTMJ Breaking Newsroom. It's Decision Wisconsin. About 70% of Wisconsin's voting age population had not voted during the state's early voting window. So today, it's your last chance.
With around 230,000 absentee votes already cast in Milwaukee County, lines were expected to be relatively short this morning. And in the city of Milwaukee, at least, that has been the case downtown. At the Zeidler Municipal Building, a small ebb and flow of voters. At the Public Library's Central Branch, the line has been small, but stretching out the door onto 8th Street. And outside the Baird Center, Milwaukee's central count location this evening, already 5 police cars are on scene, prepping for what will likely be a very busy night. Out and about in downtown Milwaukee, Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
Once it's filled out and scanned, what's next in the life cycle of a ballot? Shorewood Village Clerk Toy Harrell explains.
So after a ballot is scanned in and you see that it's been returned on your My Vote page, the ballot is then securely locked away.
In Milwaukee, the clerk's department receives ballots, then sends them to Central Count, where all ballots are counted on Election Day.
Meanwhile, Senator Tammy Baldwin is never faced as close of numbers as she has in this race against Eric Hovde. So what's changed here? President of WisPolitics.com, Jeffrey Mayer, tells WTMJ the explanation is oftentimes in the dollar signs.
The last time she ran, she beat Leah Buchmeier, who was a state senator and not very well financed. Here you have a billionaire candidate who is self-financing to the tune of $20 million.
Congressional races also see higher voter interest during presidential elections.
The Republican National Committee sues the Milwaukee Elections Commission, accusing the group of limiting poll watchers. The lawsuit claims the city would limit the number of poll observers in some cases to 2 at a time, 1 Republican and 1 Democrat. The suit also claims that poll watchers were limited at 3 specific sites during early voting: Serb Hall, the Good Hope Library, and the Capitol Drive Voting Center. The Milwaukee Election Commission refutes the claims. It says that at no point was the Republican Party denied the presence of an observer during early voting and won't be today on Election Day.
We're not through hurricane season just yet. Another tropical storm brewing, and as with so many this year, Rafael is headed toward the Gulf of Mexico. ABC's Jim Ryan.
With top sustained winds of 50 miles per hour, Rafael is still well within tropical storm status, but it is expected to gain the 24 miles per hour it would need in wind speed to become a Category 1 hurricane before reaching the west end of Cuba. From there, Rafael is expected to move into the Gulf of Mexico, where cooler water and drier air will suck away much of its energy.
Meanwhile, Cuba still struggling to recover from Hurricane Oscar, which battered the island a couple of weeks ago, killing at least 6. Time for news about your money in the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Good day going on here right now on Election Day. The Dow Jones currently up about 320 points at 42,114. Good day for the NASDAQ as well, up nearly 250 points at 18,422. S&P up 58 at 5770 and change. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, and Annex Ignite. It is financial planning at every level. For details, visit annexwealth.com.
It's trade deadline day for the NFL. Anything we should know about when it comes to the Packers? We'll find out. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Saudi Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 11:05.
Do you have the greatest possible fire protection?
Fire sprinklers protect lives and property in your building.
Are you ensuring that your fire sprinkler system is receiving the proper care that it requires?
Just like the other systems within your building, it is essential that the fire sprinkler system be inspected, tested, and maintained.
Protect your investment and, most importantly, occupants and firefighters by incorporating a regular ITM program in your building.
For more information, visit nfsa.org.
That's nfsa.org.
Cheese doodles, Mr. Nougat Bar. Oh, here we go. 4-door hatchback.
Some things are fine to buy from a vending machine, but a car's not one of them. That national online company makes it seem convenient, but it won't be so convenient if you have a problem with the vehicle you buy. And if it's after 7 days, good luck. Adam member dealers also let you search online, plus test drive the vehicle before you buy it. And they're right here to handle any issues.
But the car's stuck. No!
Start your search at adamm.com.
I'm WTMJ's Sandy Max. What makes senior living at Three Pillars so special? Let's hear from Three Pillars resident Doris.
I came to visit and it just felt very comfortable. It's a large campus. There's a lot of green areas. There's lots of trails that are going through it that you can walk. You can use your walker or rollie on it. They bought a bunch of trikes and I want to try one of those 3-wheelers and get it out on one of those walking paths. And for me, it's home with wonderful people.
Schedule a tour today at threepillars.org.
Did your home suffer damage from a storm or severe weather? Don't stress any longer. Loyal Family Renovations treats all of its customers like they've joined their personal family, and every project as if the work was being done at their own house. Loyal Family Renovations has a leg up on the competition due to the personal relationships they've built with insurance adjusters over the years. Loyal Family is family-owned, and the loyalty belongs to their customers. Contact them today to get your free home inspection. LoyalFamilyRenovations.com.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call, That's All Sports Desk. Trade deadline day in the NFL. Things quiet with the Packers, at least for now. The Lions executed trade with the Browns to acquire former Packers linebacker Zadarius Smith. The window to execute a trade closes at 3 o'clock Central Time this afternoon. And Brewers GM Matt Arnold named League Executive of the Year by his peers.
Taking a look at the roads with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. Not too bad out there. We do have one crash, however, that I want to let you know about. It's in Waukesha County. It's not causing a huge issue as far as how far it goes, but Wisconsin 190, which many of you know is Capitol Drive, is closed in both directions at Pewaukee Road because of a crash. So once again, it's not a big spot that is closed down, but it is closed in both directions, Capitol Drive at Pewaukee Road because of a crash out in Waukesha County.
Traffic is sponsored by St. Vincent de Paul Thrift Stores.
St. Vincent de Paul Thrift Stores. Highway 100 and Layton Avenue in Greenfield. 23rd and Lincoln and 76th and Bradley Road in Milwaukee. Great bargains and a great cause. You're gonna love it. St. Vincent de Paul Thrift Stores.
Mostly cloudy today, windy, mild, scattered showers possible, and a high of 68. Cooler tonight, breezy, and a low of 46. Tomorrow the rain goes away, but we stay under the cloud coverage with a high of 55. Sunny on Thursday and a high of 58. It is 61 and cloudy in Milwaukee at 11:09.
Live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios in downtown Milwaukee, it's Wisconsin's Midday News, making stories come to life. Now, here are your hosts, Greg Matzik and Jessica Ty.
Well, here we go. We made it. Big day, of course, around the nation. Speaking, of course, about the NFL's trade deadline.
Yeah, right.
It's also Election Day. For those keeping score at home, Jessica and I are here until 1 o'clock. We're going to be all over the place today, too. We've got full, all day, all through the night, through early next morning coverage here on WTMJ. So we're going to be scattered about. I'm going to be out at the Ingleside later tonight, and we'll pop on with you and John Mercure as part of your election coverage. I'll be popping on with Eric and Vinny. We're coming back at 6 o'clock tonight. Scaffidi's doing the overnight shift. We'll make sure we've got coffee on for him. But we are live and local here with no sports and no disruptions through the wee morning hours of tomorrow.
The bottom line is, when it's convenient for you, we're going to be here. We were on when the polls opened today at 7 o'clock. We're on right now, as a bunch of people will soon be heading out during the lunch hour. We're going to be on tonight when the polls close at 8 o'clock. And yes, even when Milwaukee is still counting, well, not necessarily counting, but when we're still waiting for those Milwaukee results to roll in at midnight and then all the way through in the early morning hours. So when it's convenient for you, boom, we're there.
Yeah, there is this level of ambiguity with Election Day because, townships, cities, villages, all different sizes around our state. So there might be places in Wisconsin that already done, votes already counted, all set to go. And meanwhile, you're going to wait quite a while here in Milwaukee and Waukesha County specifically. But more populous, more time, to put it simply.
It's a big day.
And the big story we are covering today, it's 11:11.
And now it's time for 3 Big Things on Wisconsin's Midday News.
Number 1, Americans have their say today in the race for the White House. Election Day is finally here. American people on pins and needles. There's anticipation and anxiety. People in West Allis give you a feel for the varying thoughts on this Election Day. Voter Mike Weber wants to see a smooth transition.
I want to see how it all shakes out, hoping it's a fair election and, both sides gave it a good effort, but I want to see all the facts addressed, not the feelings.
West Allis voter Jerry Ulrich is bracing for what comes next.
This year there'll be chaos. I think there's going to be people challenged to vote, and people my age don't want it. We want calm. We want things happening.
Voter Sal Jacobson, also from West Allis, says he's seen enough, and he's ready for this election to wrap up.
All the commercials and bad publicity just doesn't sit right with me, but it'll be done soon, so we'll see what happens.
A reminder, here in Wisconsin, you can register to vote at the polls today. Just remember to bring your ID. Also, if you haven't already returned an absentee ballot, do so ASAP. In order for that ballot to be counted, all absentee ballots have to arrive at your polling place by 8 o'clock tonight. That's when the polls close. Another reminder for you, these are always good. If you are in line at 8 o'clock, you can still vote, but you have to be in line at 8.
Good tips. And if you are heading to the polls, you might want to bring an umbrella. Also, keep your eyes on the skies. Rainy and breezy conditions, as I mentioned today. There is a possibility for an isolated tornado due to what TMJ4 meteorologist Tyler Moore calls a triple point,
where the warm front and cold front meet together near the low pressure center. And in those areas, it doesn't take very strong storms to produce rotation because that low can produce rotation by itself. So yeah, we'll be looking at the chance for maybe a brief isolated tornado. Anything that does develop would be very weak, but it would be along that cold front that sweeps through later in the day.
Yeah, perhaps some mild tornadic activity. It's kind of wild. It's kind of a nasty day. Keep your eyes out. Be careful. Be cautious. Some of those in line might be waiting outside, so be prepared for what you might encounter.
Of all the things we thought we might have to worry about on Election Day, a triple point was not one of them. Now we know.
I never knew what that was until we talked to Tyler.
Number 3, the machinist strike is over at Boeing. Workers negotiated a hefty pay increase, but not the pension they had been looking for. And not all workers are happy today. ABC's Jim Ryan has the update.
The reaction from the rank and file upon learning that 59% of the machinists union had voted to accept Boeing's offer was mixed.
There always is hard feelings.
But Union Chief John Holden insists
this is a success, this is a win. It was hard bargaining on both sides.
One estimate puts the loss to Boeing over the 7-week strike at $5.5 billion.
That sound after the vote is so powerful because it really shows you how divided some of these people were. Some of the people the workers just so pumped that they're getting this big pay raise, but other people not happy because they did not get that pension that they were looking for. Machinists had voted down 2 previous offers. The new contract includes a 38% pay raise over 4 years.
11:14 on WTMJ. Tech Tuesday is also on Election Day, and we've got a mashup of both things. ABC's Mike Dubusky after this.
Hey Bucks fans, it's Justin Garcia from the Bucks Radio Network, here to tell you about the launch of the Bucks Central podcast feed. Everything Bucks, on demand, in one spot. From sideline to sideline, hear all the ankle-breaking, rim-rattling, and twine-tingling highlights, exclusive interviews, and more. Subscribe to the Bucks Central podcast feed wherever you get your podcasts. All the Bucks content your heart desires in one spot. Check out the Bucks Central podcast feed.
Hey, thanks, Justin. Hey, Greg Natzik here for Siding Unlimited, my favorite contractor, my favorite people to help beautify my home's exterior. It should be on your list as well. It's going to be a short list if you've got Siding Unlimited included. They are number one when it comes to installation of great products, and I can attest to that. They did our siding when we built our house about 8 years ago. Everything looks perfect. No fading in that LP Smart Side siding, not even an inch of separation on the boards. Perfect installation of great products. That's what you can attribute to Siding Unlimited. Hey, if you don't believe me, how about Pella? They recognize Siding Unlimited as a 4-time National Platinum Certified Contractor of the Year. That means they install the Pella product better than anybody in the country. That's amazing stuff. It's Siding Unlimited, family run. It's Eric and Aaron Brown, brothers who run this company. They took over their father's business several years ago. They've expanded services, siding, roofing, windows, doors, really anything to beautify your home's exterior. Check them out in Brookfield. See those products on display in their showroom. Get an idea for how they would look if installed at your place. SidingUnlimited.com.
Hi, I'm Jordan Miller, third-generation owner of Allright. If your home was damaged by the recent storm, be wary of out-of-town contractors, aka storm chasers. These crews follow the radar, flock to areas with hail, wind, and even tornado damage. Then help homeowners file insurance claims, make a profit, and hit the road. It is crucial you find a local company. Learn more at ALLRITE remodeling.com.
All right, home and remodeling.
A lot like yesterday. Windy, breezy, warm, mild temperatures, kind of rainy and cloudy with a high of 68 degrees today, overnight low of 48 tomorrow. Cool off a little bit. Rain should be gone and a high of 58 degrees. 66 now and cloudy in Milwaukee at 11:17.
It's Tech Tuesday with ABC News technology reporter Mike Dubusky.
We're not sure if he will be a judge in the upcoming AI beauty pageant, but he is our guest every Tuesday on Tech Tuesday.
The latest and greatest in the world of tech.
Tesla's next product, they call it a robo-taxi. These are AR glasses. They're called simply the Frame.
On Wisconsin's Midday News.
Well, it's Tech Tuesday on a Tuesday, and it's more of an election-focused Tech Tuesday. A little flavor from Mike Dubusky, ABC tech expert, joining us here today. Happy Election Day to you, Mike.
Happy Election Day and Tech Tuesday to you guys.
Yeah, so as we kind of mash things together here, it's our own 2024 mashup. Jessica and I were talking before the show. We were thinking back to all the things that have sort of played out and been ingrained in our mind on social media, videos and compilations of their eating the dogs and eating the cats to Trump behind the wheel or in the passenger seat of a garbage truck. There's all sorts of things. Elections have happened during the social media era, but never quite like this.
Absolutely correct. Yes. And it's interesting that you mentioned the word mashup there, because that is where we saw a lot of energy online with regards to people posting in favor of or against political candidates. There's a new survey out from Hootsuite, which is a company that tracks the sentiment on social media and how users are feeling about either political candidate, either positively or negatively. They do this by tracking certain keywords that show up in posts that mention either Kamala Harris or Donald Trump. And the findings here are pretty interesting, guys. In terms of overall conversation, not getting into positive or negative, more posts mention Donald Trump as opposed to Kamala Harris, about 50% more. That's 3 posts mentioning Trump for every 2 mentioning Harris. Donald Trump also enjoys more positive sentiment online for all age groups except for one. Those 65 and older view Kamala Harris more positively, or at least discuss her more positively online. However, if we take a zoom out sort of viewpoint here, guys, both candidates, when you add together positive sentiment and negative sentiment, the net sentiment is overwhelmingly negative for both candidates. I'll leave that to you guys and the listeners to see what that means for Election Day, because of course the conversations that happen online don't always translate to the ballot box, but it's certainly an interesting data point headed into Election Day.
So which moments from each of the campaigns, I guess the campaign trail in general, made the biggest impacts on social media? I can think of about 4, but overall, what made the biggest splash?
There were several, right? So this survey looked at many, various, kind of campaign moments and the discussions that they generated online. A lot of these are what you would expect, right? The debates were, of course, hugely prominent. The announcement of the vice presidential candidates as well. The attempted assassination of former President Trump over the summer as well generated a lot of discussion, as did the moment when President Biden stepped aside at the head of the Democratic ticket in 2024 in favor of his vice president, Kamala Harris, all generating a lot of discussion online. But it's interesting that at the beginning of this conversation, guys, you mentioned they're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs soundbite from former President Trump, reference to a debunked claim that immigrants in Ohio were eating residents' cats and dogs. That was remixed, ad nauseum on social media platforms, either, to poke fun at the former president or, as a genuine expression of support of the former president. We saw that when compared to a similar soundbite from the former vice president, from the current vice president, the coconut tree soundbite that was remixed many times. You think you just fell out of a coconut tree.
Right.
We saw the "they're eating dog" soundbite generate about 10 times as many results online as that coconut tree soundbite. 839.7 thousand posts online versus just 87.8 thousand. Just kind of gives you a sense of the conversations that are happening online. Now, they didn't look into whether those were positive or negative. Kind of hard to get into the sort of deeply ironic, sarcastic language that occasionally you find yourself in on certain social media platforms. But again, that just kind of speaks to exactly how people are thinking and how people are feeling and the conversations that are happening online this election cycle.
Those jingles are just burned into my mind, unfortunately, but they are.
You know what else is burned into a lot of people's mind is the new Charlie XCX album from this past summer. That, again, played into the brat summer that the Kamala Harris campaign leaned into as a means by which to generate support among younger voters. That generated about 60,000 results. Kamala Harris and the word brat, that sort of mashup between the campaign and this popular album, especially among very online people. Again, 60,000 results there. When Taylor Swift, speaking of music, endorsed Kamala Harris, it generated about 176,000 mentions online. And compare that to a similarly high-profile endorsement on the other side of the aisle when Elon Musk endorsed Donald Trump on July 13th of this past summer, generated nearly 230,000 results that day.
A brat summer. It was a brat summer here in Wisconsin, of course, Wisconsin's favorite sausage. Mike, I wanted to ask you about the role podcasts have played in this election cycle as well, because it wasn't uncommon to see the top of the ticket here sprinkled about in some of the more popular podcasts. That maybe is a departure from what we saw 4 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. And, podcasts have been around for a while. We've seen various political figures not only appear on podcasts, but host their own in some cases. But podcasts played a huge role this past election cycle. We saw former President Donald Trump appear on multiple long-form, long-ranging interviews, most prominent of which was probably the Joe Rogan podcast, which can often stretch 2 to 3 hours long. He also appeared on podcasts hosted by Logan Paul and Theo Vaughn, very prominent influencers in the podcasting and YouTube space specifically. Kamala Harris's campaign did a little bit of that. They appeared on the Call Her Daddy podcast hosted by Alex Cooper. That was a bit of a longer form interview for the vice president. But for the most part, we saw them stick to short form content when it comes to a digital strategy. These short remixes, these short edits as they're known on TikTok and on X, that was where a lot of the energy among the Harris campaign lied. It's going to be interesting to track how that shows up in the real world, whether the long-form Republican strategy ends up winning out over the short-form Democratic strategy.
It's certainly not new, but if you think about other ways people are getting information from the candidates, as far as TV viewership, that's down.
Mm-hmm.
It's been down for quite a while. Not as many people are reading the newspaper, so this is a new way. But I wonder why exactly the podcasts are the breakout technology this election. Is it partly just because sometimes when you listen to these podcasts, it's more real talk in some cases? It's not just politics. They're also diving maybe more personally into things?
It's certainly possible, right? There's been a lot written about the sort of parasocial relationships that, listeners form with their favorite podcast hosts. There's a lot of talk in the audio space about how podcasting is a very intimate medium. Usually you listen to a podcast in headphones. It's right there in your head, and it's a very personal sort of experience. It's not often shared between multiple people at the same time. And, that creates a certain relationship and a certain fan base behind certain podcast hosts. As a result, you can see why political campaigns would be attracted to a platform like that, giving the opportunity for these candidates not only to get the messages out, but also to show a little bit of their personal side and maybe form a little bit of those parasocial relationships with the help of these very popular podcast hosts. It's a hugely important technology, that is, again, as we said, been around for a long time. In fact, the whole reason it's called a podcast is because of Steve Jobs and the iPod, right? The podcast as opposed to a broadcast. That's where that word came from. But yeah, in 2024, it seemingly had a renewed life. This kind of longer form, more free-flowing conversation. Kind of interesting, given how much we talk about short attention spans on social media. Certainly seems like a lot of people are sitting down and taking in these longer form conversations as well.
Always interesting conversation, an election version of Tech Tuesday here with ABC's Mike Dubusky. Appreciate it, Mike. We'll check in again next week.
Enjoy tonight, Mike.
Okay, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.
Get the help you need Saturday morning with How To Radio. At 7, it's the WTMJ Fix-It Show with David Nason, featuring this week's guests, Olson's Outdoor Power Equipment and National Fire Sprinkler Association. At 9, plan your dream vacation with the Fox World Travel Show. And at 10, get financial guidance during Money Talk. Contact NX Wealth Management for an unbiased review of your investments at nxwealth.com. How To Radio, Saturday mornings on WTMJ.
Hey, Greg Matzik here for Flanders Home Entertainment. Look at the audio and video system in your home. Does it need an upgrade? Better for movie night, better for the big game, bigger screen, better resolution. It's Flanders. Flanders Home Entertainment is where you need to go. They've got the stuff, big or small, whole house wiring systems, TVs, TV brackets, Bluetooth speakers. You can even trade in old equipment to Flanders. Stop by their showroom and see what I've been talking about here for the last several years. I love Flanders. Been going there for decades, as a matter of fact. Flanders is located now in West Dallas, Grafton, and also at Flanders.com. Sound advice at the best price. Just press play.
Craft your Brewers mini plan for the 2025 season, featuring all new 6-packs and 12-packs. Get in on the action with great ticket rates, marquee matchups, and priority seating. Plus, you'll get a limited edition Brewers Crowler with each 12-pack or pair of 6-packs. Looking to customize your games to fit your schedule? Build your own ticket plan options are also available. Pick the plan for you at brewers.com/ticketfinder.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here. You want to make sure you got the right paint color for your commercial business or company. I've got the answer. Call your neighborhood CertaPro painter. Ask about their color consultation services. I've worked with them. They're the best in the business. Free estimates, reliable communication, professional painting at the right price. When you choose CertaPro painters, you're also choosing a partner. Each CertaPro painter business is independently owned and operated. Schedule your free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. When choosing a painting professional, the choice is simple. Choose happy. Choose CertaPro painters.
Here's to trekking through a kaleidoscope of fall color in Wisconsin. To being like, who's up for whitewater rafting? And turning stories into souvenirs. Here's to rich traditions made new again with good company. And seasonal flavors that taste even better when shared with friends. Here's to those who Wisconsin. Plan your fall getaway at travelwisconsin.com.
If you're living with chronic joint pain in your knees, hips, lower back, and shoulders, I've got exciting news for you.
Emmett Smith, all-time rushing leader and Hall of Famer.
Now you can get relief from pain without harmful medications and surgery. Call my guys at QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics specializes in biologic therapies that can repair and restore damaged tissue. I'm talking about natural pain treatments now available, not just for pro athletes, but to people like you.
At QC Kinetics, we're seeing patients every day who suffer from chronic joint pain but who desperately wanted to avoid surgery. We're treating joint pain with biologic therapies, regenerative solutions with long-lasting results.
Listen, it's all about getting your life back. Playing touch football with kids, walking upstairs pain-free, getting back on a job, and patients at QC Kinetics are raving about the results.
QC Kinetics. Call to learn more about restorative treatments that can get you back in the game.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
For over a century, local radio has evolved with the needs of the community. From politics to pop culture, we keep you informed, bringing you the most relevant news, online, on air, and on the go. You have trusted us with your news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Trust us to keep moving with you. Text radio to 52886 and tell Congress local broadcasting is here to stay.
It's 11:30. I'm Greg Matzik. This is Wisconsin's Midday News for Tuesday, November 5th. Your top story, do you know what's on your ballot?
I'm Jessica Ty, providing support for domestic violence victims.
Mostly cloudy, windy, mild today. Scattered showers possible and a high of 68. It's 66 and cloudy in Milwaukee.
This is a special report from ABC News, Your Voice, Your Vote. I'm Michelle Franzen. Kamala Harris and Donald Trump closed out their campaigns last night. Now it's voters' turns. The former president cast his ballot in West Palm Beach, Florida, saying he has no regrets. But ABC News contributor and former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie says some supporters are voicing concern.
I spoke to a person in the Trump campaign last night who said that their words exactly, we wanted to vomit the last 9 days, because he completely got off message, and they're afraid he may have lost it in the last 9 days.
Voter turnout could be key, especially in swing states. ABC's Faith Abube is in Fulton County, Georgia.
According to the Secretary of State's office, is across the state, it's taking about 36 seconds for people to check in at polling locations. This is remarkable considering back in 2020, Georgia made national headlines, international headlines, because so many people were waiting in line for so long just to cast their ballots.
This is ABC News.
Siding Unlimited, WTMJ News Time is 11:31. Decision Wisconsin. Ballots in parts of Milwaukee County will include possible toss-up races in Wisconsin assemblies.
Both districts are products of 2023 redistricting, though the candidates involved have varying levels of political experience. In District 61, incumbent Republican Bob Donovan is no stranger to the political stage. He faces Democrat Luann Byrd in a rematch from 2022, where Donovan won by just 525 votes. In District 21, another incumbent Republican, Jesse Rodriguez, faces Democrat David Marstelar. The race is Marstelar's first after a career in floriculture, while Rodriguez has held the seat since 2013. Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
While the race for president is razor thin, polling for Wisconsin's Senate race also looks close. President of WizPolitics.com, Jeff Mayers, tells WTMJ the results of one race could predict the other.
Usually in presidential election years, the U.S. Senate candidate and the presidential candidate are from the same party. It hasn't been different since 1968.
Mayor says it's been an aggressively negative race with hard negative ads from both the challenger Eric Hovde and the incumbent Tammy Baldwin.
Can you decide to vote in person if you already requested an absentee ballot sent to your home? Well, as long as you didn't fill out or return that ballot, the answer is yes. Shorewood Village Clerk Toya Harrell tells WTMJ.
Then you would just email your municipal clerk. You provide your name, you provide your date of birth, and that's just for verification purposes. And then you would request to have your ballot canceled because you wish to vote in person.
If you still have a completed absentee ballot, you must turn it in to your polling place by 8 o'clock tonight for it to be counted.
There's one important thing to remember about the vote totals here on Election Day. Wisconsin Elections Commissioner Administrator Megan Wolf.
The results you see on election nights are completely unofficial. That means that they have not been vetted or double or triple checked through the multiple steps that are in our law where an election becomes certified.
The public is welcome to observe the vote certification process, which must be completed by Wisconsin's 72 counties on November 19th. Wisconsin's official vote count won't be certified until December 1st.
Resources tend to be scarce for assisting victims of domestic violence in rural communities. In Vernon County, a grant from the DOJ is helping change that.
Vernon County Sheriff Roy Torgerson tells WTMJ,
the first deputy arrives, it might be 20-25 minutes before their backup arrives.
And when those officers are needed to arrest the perpetrator, that's where the Help End Abuse Response Team, or HEART volunteers, come in.
We'll get that volunteer out on the scene to start working with the victim as soon as possible. Sometimes just that ear to listen, that empathy.
Torgerson says these volunteers can be the difference between a victim going back to an abusive situation and getting the help they need. Jessica Gatso, WTMJ News.
Weather always important on Election Day, and we are seeing some rain here in Wisconsin. Weather is coming up along with sports and traffic. Signing Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 11:34.
Hey, it's Jason Wilde for Excel Custom Decks. I at least like to think I'm an expert when it comes to football, but I know Excel are truly experts when it comes to the art of deck building. With the finest materials and products combined with their superior craftsmanship, they'll deliver exceptional quality and value on everything from backyard decks to pergolas and outdoor kitchens. If you can dream it, Rob and his family can build it. Family-owned Excel Custom Decks delivers decking excellence by design. Visit excelcustomdecks.com to learn more.
There's no better place to catch the natural wonders of fall than Lake Geneva. Stroll a lakeshore path in a kaleidoscope of color. Explore winding rustic roads. Take a scenic boat tour or glide through a forest on a zip line. At night, stargaze from a historic observatory. Cozy up to a campfire or have a cocktail on the patio. Enjoy the seasonal bounty at orchards, wineries, and farms with flavors to savor. Plan your fall getaway now at visitlakegeneva.com. Lake Geneva. It's always been the place for fall fun.
Okay, close your mouth and take a deep breath in through your nose. So the way it's supposed to be is that you should be able to breathe easily. You shouldn't feel constrained. What it should feel like is air briskly flowing freely through both nasal passages, day and night. And if not, there's a problem. And it's a don't know what your problem really was until you got it fixed kind of problem. You're living with it. I mean, you're tired a lot. It might give you headaches and sinus pressure, but you're living with it. Yeah, you sound like almost every patient we help until we get their problem fixed. And then you hear them saying, why would I put up with that? Advent will get you breathing freely again with simple in-office solutions like turbinate reduction along with balloon sinuplasty that really can change your life.
To date, Advent has solved over 40,000 breathing triangle problems. Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
AdventKnows.com.
Results may vary.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call, That's All Sports Desk. It is trade deadline day in the NFL. Things quiet for the Packers, at least for now. Lions, meanwhile, executed trade for former Packers linebacker Zadarius Smith. The window to get a deal done closes at 3 o'clock this afternoon. And congrats to Brewers general manager Matt Arnold, named the League Executive of the Year by his peers.
Let's get you an update on the roads with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. Just one crash that is still sticking around. It's in Waukesha County, not too far from the village of Pewaukee. What we're dealing with right now is Wisconsin 190 is closed in both directions of Pewaukee Road. Wisconsin 190, also known as Capitol Drive. Capitol Drive, always a busy spot, and it's Election Day, so you don't want to see any crashes, but we do have one. So you've got Capitol Drive at Pewaukee Road closed due to a crash, so use an alternative route if you're headed that way.
Breezy, kind of rainy, kind of cloudy, but mild conditions today and a high of 68 degrees. It'll cool off a little bit tonight with temperatures in the upper 40s. Tomorrow looking sunny with a high of 55. Same for Thursday and a high of 58 degrees. 65 and cloudy in Milwaukee at 11:38.
A big reminder that you won't see results from Milwaukee's absentee ballots right after 8 o'clock tonight. That is normal. There is nothing amiss. Sometimes people are like, all of a sudden, wait, whoa. How did that number just go all the way up right now?
Yeah, it's going to take a minute. So if you have people out at the polling places saying, well, it's kind of quiet this morning, well, keep in mind there's a lot of early votes put in place, and that you got to compile, you got to wait. I know it's hard to wait because we've been waiting so long, but you got to wait.
So when will we see Milwaukee's results? We talked to Paulina Gutierrez, the executive director of the Milwaukee Election Commission here in Wisconsin's Midday News earlier. Here's what she said.
I don't think we'll get to the early morning hours as we did in the pandemic. That was the pandemic with an unprecedented amount of ballots. But we are expecting it sometime after midnight.
So there you go, sometime after midnight. So when that happens and all of a sudden you see all those votes go into the system, nothing is amiss. That's just the process. That's how it happens here. And processing the ballots, by the way, that's just part of the process.
And along with getting those ballots processed in an efficient manner, we also have the formal exporting process and then transporting those results over to the county. And then the county then imports those results where the American public eventually gets to see where Milwaukee landed on its votes. And so that process takes several hours as well. So, even if we do finish counting those ballots in a reasonable time, we still have several hours of the formal exporting process that needs to occur before people can see those results.
Bottom line, this is a process.
Yeah, no.
It's not just like the ballot goes in and then boom, it's calculated and off. I mean, it goes to the city, then it goes to the county. It takes hours.
Yeah, this is not student council here, right? I mean, it's quite an elaborate process, but you want to get it right as well. And if that takes double and triple checking, it takes double and triple checking. And Waukesha County, Washington, the metro area here, obviously well populated. It's going to take some time. Green Bay, it's different than Shiocton, for example. So especially down here in southeastern Wisconsin, these results are going to take time to get through.
And I think Paulina Gutierrez, the executive director of the Milwaukee Election Commission, she made a very good point here in Wisconsin's Midday News that speed, it is not a priority tonight.
Sure.
Accuracy and security is our number one priority when it comes to central count. And so we're always going to prioritize that over speed.
So the other thing a lot of people are asking about, security, because there are people concerned that there could be some unrest. There are people concerned that maybe there are some people trying to do some things they shouldn't be doing. Well, Milwaukee is ready if anything happens, and they need authorities.
We have a really good relationship with our Milwaukee Police Department and Milwaukee Fire Department, and we continually plan for contingencies. And so we feel really good that in the event we need to call authorities, we will act swiftly.
And coming up during our noon hour, we're going to have more on security because security is beefed up across the state, beefed up across the country. But we'll tell you about some of the things that are happening that you might not know about yet at polling places in Wisconsin.
Yeah, a couple helpful tips, too. Don't go to the polling place endorsing a candidate. They don't want you to do that. That is not legal.
Don't bring your signs. You can't do it.
No, they're going to ask you to leave, and it don't cause a scene either. And it just try and get through the process simply. Nobody likes waiting. Everybody wants to get this done. Congrats to those who've already cast their vote and were able to do it in the early voting cycle. I did that. I know you did that as well. It was a very simple process, and it was an enjoyable process, and it was kind of an uplifting process, and you had the endorphins started to build, like you did something good in casting your vote. It was a simple process for me. Others had to wait 20, 30 minutes. You never know, all based on your timing, but just work to get through it simply and without confrontation and go about your day.
Voting early, there was just the tiniest bit of a line, but I was kind of strategic with it. It wasn't the best weather day. I was kind of trying to hit the main rush at 5 o'clock, so I got there before 5 o'clock. It took me, I think it was either 13 minutes or 14 minutes, which I kind of laughed at because you've got the 15-minute free parking.
Yes,
that's always out there. And I always wonder, are they really going to get you on 16 minutes? I doubt it. But it took me 14 minutes. It was at Zeidler Municipal Building in downtown Milwaukee. And just out of curiosity, because the day before I actually voted early, I went to go see, and the line was too long. I'm like, I got to get my dog out. So I said, I'm going to go tomorrow and check. So the line, the one day I looked, was out the door and wrapped around the building. When I went, it was just outside of one of the doors because they've got a double door situation there. So out of curiosity, today, before coming in, I went by again to see on election day, how would it be? Now, it wasn't right at 7 o'clock when the polls opened, so that might have been a different situation. But when I went about 8 o'clock, really no line.
Yeah.
But it's going to be different depending on where you go, where you're going to vote today, if you still do need to vote today, whether you're in the city, whether you're out in the suburbs, and what time you're going, if you're going at that 5 o'clock rush or you're going later.
I thought you might hold out and vote today.
I always like
just to be in the action.
But I just decided, since we've got you covered all day, all night long, I'm going to be back for a coverage from 8 to 11 o'clock. And I just thought, I'll get it done.
Yeah.
Just get it done.
As long as you do it, doesn't matter when you do it, but do it. It's 11:43 in WTMJ. We are going to go out to the polls here. Remember our DJ friend we talked to a couple of weeks ago?
How do you forget?
Right? It's a festive scene, pending where you're going to vote today, and we've got the man behind it. You bet. It's coming up after this on WTMJ.
When your car or truck needs service, you should take it to a specialist. I'm Jim Token, president of the Auto Dealers Association of Metro Milwaukee. At a member, new car dealers have factory-warranted parts, the latest diagnostic equipment, and certified manufacturer technicians. Plus, their prices are as low or lower than independent shops, even on routine things like oil changes and tire service. Knowing all that, why would you ever consider going anywhere other than an Adam member dealer?
Helping people and families seriously injured in accidents and standing up for victims to take the burden off your shoulders. It's Greg Matzik for Gruber Law Offices. Did you see the person who dressed up as David Gruber for Halloween?
Yes.
And that went viral.
You know what? She was also at the Bucks game the other night, and
Dressed as
Gruber was there on the floor,
yes.
and it looked like she was trying to get onto the floor, and the security guard was having none of it, and he sent her back up.
Well, they did at some point pose for a picture somewhere because I had it emailed to me, which I think is great. Well,
yes.
How do you become a fixture in Milwaukee? Somebody dresses up for you as Halloween. There you go, right?
So true.
David Gruber. Yeah, you can find him at a lot of games. No doubt about that. Always finding ways to give back to the community. He's built a great practice as well. Over 40 years of doing it here in Wisconsin, getting results that speak for themselves. You focus on healing, they focus on the legal aspect at Gruber. And no fee, no cost to call, no cost to consult or retain their firm. Never a fee until they win your case. It's what they do. It's gruber-law.com. Give them a call if you've been seriously hurt in an accident. It's 414-276-6666.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper-Fi.
SemperFiRoofing.com.
Visit family-owned Ken Michaels Furniture and our in-store design centers where you'll still find beautiful, luxurious, heirloom-quality American-made furniture. Right now, save 30 to 35% store-wide and take advantage of our complimentary design services. Whether you're moving, renovating, or updating, our designers will help your vision become a reality. Visit Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield on Capitol Drive and in Greenfield on Highway 100 to save 30 to 35% store-wide today. Sleep better and save more with mattresses from Milwaukee Mattress and Ken Michaels Furniture. Handcrafted in our Milwaukee factory, our mattresses utilize natural materials like cotton cushioning, which dissipates body heat, Joma wool quilts for warm wintry nights and cool summer evenings, and natural latex providing superior conformability and pressure relief for aching joints. Stop in today at any Ken Michaels Furniture store and save up to 50% compared to national brands.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Steve and Ashley heard our radio ads over the years, and when it came time to buy their first home, they clicked on the blue button. We sent them a credit-verified pre-approval the same day and upgraded to a rock-solid, fully verified and guaranteed pre-approval shortly thereafter. We also let them know about AccuNet's property-specific pre-approval, where we might be able to include those magic words, no appraisal required. When they wrote their next offer, several $1,000s over asking to make sure someone else didn't end up sleeping in their dream home, their property-specific rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval did include that most powerful phrase, no appraisal required, and the sellers picked Steve and Ashley's offer over several others. If you think all mortgage lenders and pre-approvals are the same, think again. Go with the local mortgage lender that has the tools and know-how to help you win. We'll also likely save you $1,000 to $3,000 in closing costs for exactly the same rate as your bank. Whether you're looking to buy or refi, click on the blue button today at accunet.com.
Local DJ may be playing hits at your polling place today. DJs at the Polls is a national nonpartisan effort designed to get more people to vote. Here in Milwaukee, the goal is to have a DJ at almost every polling location today. Local DJ Eric Meyer is one of them, also known as DJ E-Rich. He joins us live in between duties at 3 different polling places today. Thanks for making time for us because I know you're like setting up right now for your next gig.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm right outside of Humboldt Park in lovely Bayview, and couldn't be happier that the rain stopped.
Yes. Oh, gosh. And I hope it stays that way. We'll see. So you were at the first polling location when the polls opened, your first spot at 7 a.m. this morning. Where were you? How did it go? Was it busy?
There was a fair amount of people. I was at Beulah Brinton, right down in Bayview, right off the interstate there. And there were probably, I got there about 6:30. And I want to say there was probably 25 people or so in line waiting to get in. And then after that, I mean, there was a steady flow of people, so people are engaged. And we have to be kind of tucked off to the side. We're not supposed to interfere with anything. So I deliberately try to make sure I'm not like right in the beaten path where everyone's going to go. But so there's a little bit of jostling, trying to find your proper location, but it was cool. Our word got out because I had several people start talking we saw you guys on the news and we saw you guys, are going to be out and this is so cool. And so it's a good thing.
Now, I was going to ask what the general reaction is because while some know that you're going to be there, some probably don't. And all of a sudden you're spinning tunes on Election Day. What's the general reaction been?
So, well, the hardest part is that a lot of these workers end up being volunteers, so they're not necessarily people that are traditionally at these locales. So when we show up, we don't go in, we don't bother them. They have their own stuff to do for the day. As long as we stick to the rules and laws 100 feet away and, a very modest volume, people, for the most part, are cool. There's some older folks who get a little concerned when they see us setting up because they see a DJ and they assume it's Pauly D and fist pumping and crazy loud music, and here I am setting up playing Marvin Gaye and Stevie Wonder and all these classics, and they're like, oh, okay. So like anything else, people are scared until they kind of get a grasp of what it is, and then once they get it, then they kind of mellow out.
So you mentioned Marvin Gaye, some of the classics there. What music are you planning to spin today?
It largely is going to depend on the day. Early in the morning, obviously, I was trying to be super quiet because it's still a residential neighborhood, so I wasn't trying to play anything too boomy or, aggressive. So it was a pretty heavy dose of Motown. I think we might do some 90s in a couple minutes when I get going here. So seems to be a little bit livelier. And then my third gig today is going to be at Hayes Multilingual School at 5 o'clock is when that one is. And then that one, hopefully we can have a little more people getting off of work, and then that one will be much more up-tempo.
That sounds like a blast. So you're going through until people can't cast a vote anymore, essentially.
Yeah, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. We get little, it depends. Most DJs are doing, at least locally, are doing 3-hour gigs, and a lot of people are doing 2 4-hour gigs. So it's mostly just to get the coverage. But we literally sent DJs out to Madison from Milwaukee.
Yeah, this is a big deal. The group hired 450 DJs in more than 10 states.
Over 4,000 across the country. Yeah, there's 130 DJs hired in the state of Wisconsin, DJing at 260 polls today. So, barring a few that had some wind-related issues, but other than that, it's seemingly so far good. People are out. People are in good spirits. People, I think if nothing else, there's a catharsis of this is over. So a lot of people are just hey, you know what? It's good. We're all doing our part. We're doing our thing. Tomorrow we can go back to regular commercials.
Well, thanks for being a part of it. You're making it fun at the polls. That's local DJ Eric Meyer out of Milwaukee, also known as DJ E-Rich. He's part of a big movement called DJs at the Polls today.
Good stuff, Eric. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Talk to you soon.
Yeah, good use of the word catharsis as well. It's 11:52 on WTMJ.
The Upswing is your place for commerce and community.
Donald Trump called the word tariffs. It's more beautiful than love. The most beautiful word in the world.
Hosted by Jeff Sherman.
Oftentimes will benefit a small group while imposing costs on a much larger group and having negative effects over the long term.
Weekdays from 10 to 11 on WTMJ. Presented by Horicon Bank, the natural choice for all your banking needs.
Greg Matzik here for Holiday Automotive in Fond du Lac. I've been working with Holiday for over a decade now, and boy, they have really helped me out over the years, and our family sent a number of friends and relatives and family members to Holiday, and they all come back saying, wow, it was different. That place is fantastic. They treat you with respect. It's an impressive place, and they've really helped out our family after my car was totaled by a deer. Yep, that's right. It happened a couple of weeks ago, right after that final game of the baseball season here in Milwaukee. But Holiday helped me out. They took my car to their body shop and collision center, worked with my insurance company, and then I started to understand their process. If there's a vehicle you're looking for, it's not on their lot, you can still connect with Holiday. They will find it. I learned about their system for how they work with dealers across the wholesale network and what that process is like. It's really fascinating. And I learned this. If they take a vehicle in from outside of their dealer network, it's going to be in pristine condition, ready for you. They have a fine-tooth comb that they go through their listings with. It's Holiday in Fond du Lac. It's just different. I'm telling you, it's worth the trip. Check out Holiday, HolidayMazda.com. You can also check out HolidayGM.com. The best in the business here, and we know what season it is. It's time to take to the roads with confidence, and they have got their season year-end sale going on. Get those enticing offers at HolidayGM.com. It's worth the trip.
Visit the Eleanor Room, your charming downtown Greendale neighborhood retreat with sophisticated small plates and shareables, touting top-shelf tequila, craft cocktails, and curated beer and wine. Stop in for locally minded lunch, dinner, and late-night lounging. Join us for weekend brunch or reserve a tasting table, offering a menu uniquely curated by our executive chef. The Eleanor Room is the perfect venue for your next corporate event or holiday party, offering an upscale speakeasy ambiance and customizable menu. To make a reservation, visit eleanorroom.com.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Well, we are here. It is Election Day. Do you know what's all on your ballot? A really interesting collection of pieces done by WTMJ's Adam Roberts, just to keep you informed before you get to the polling place, what you might see.
That free voice is the vote.
We're nearly to Election Day 2024, but in reality, the election has already been underway for some time, as early in-person absentee voting kicked off for many Wisconsin communities on October 22nd. Early turnout has been quite robust, with over 412,000 of those in-person absentee votes already cast. For those who still haven't voted, over the next few days, we'll walk you through the ins and outs of what you can expect on your ballot when you head to the polls.
Your vote is one of the most valuable tools.
Let's start, ironically, towards the bottom of the ballot, where you'll notice any referenda up for a vote in your municipality. First off, all ballots across Wisconsin will include a question concerning who can legally vote in state elections.
Shall Section 1 of the Article 3 of the Constitution, which deals with suffrage, be amended to provide that only a United States citizen age 18 or older who resides in an election district may vote in an election for national, state, or local office or at a statewide local referendum?
On the surface, the change is simply rewriting the law to read only instead of every, since no cities, towns, or villages in Wisconsin currently allow non-citizens to vote in local elections. The non-citizen voting referendum is the 5th statewide ballot question in Wisconsin this year alone. Also on the ballot this fall are several high-profile school referenda, continuing a trend of districts going to the voters for approval on spending projects. This November, around 140 school districts in Wisconsin will ask voters to consider ballot items. Data from the February and April referendums show around 60% of those ballot measures passed. In Madison, voters are being asked for more than $600 million to cover operating costs and building replacement and renovations in the district.
They asked for money for the schools, I always gave it to them, but I always really wondered what the hell they were doing with it.
Madison School Board Treasurer Allie Muldrow tells WISC-TV while she's not surprised to hear those remarks, given voter fatigue over the increasing number of referenda.
As a homeowner in Madison, I don't think anybody wants their life to get more expensive. At the end of the day, we are defined by the way we show up for one another's kids.
Meanwhile, in Wauwatosa, another duo of funding requests asks voters to approve nearly $125 million for the same purpose.
This referendum is a really great thing for our community, and I'm really excited about what it means for the future of our schools.
Our children deserve the best and brightest leaders around. However, irresponsible spending is not a way to get there.
As always, make sure to do your research on any referenda coming up for a vote in your municipality before you head to the polls. Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
And for a complete guide of all election information and our daily coverage here, check out the Decision Wisconsin section at WTMJ.com. News is next.
I know, Mondays and Tuesdays can be a drag, kind of a challenge. WTMJ's John Mercure here. Brighten up your day with a free dinner tonight and witness the spectacular fall colors as you drive through the Kettle Forest to the historic Fox and Hound Supper Club near Holy Hill. When you buy one dinner, your second dinner is free. Enjoy a brandied New York steak, the delicious ribs, pan-fried walleye, any pasta, even steak and lobster. Your second dinner is always free. Desserts and ice cream drinks, and I love these. Buy one, get one free. Relax with an old-fashioned. Choose from 20 bourbons, 100 wines, ice-cold tap beer. You can see the stunning fall colors from most tables in the 8 unique dining rooms, and your second dinner's free. The Fox and Hounds, just off 167 near Holy Hill. The breathtaking views through the Kettle Forest and surrounding the Fox and Hounds is a Wisconsin must-see. Check out the patio in the woods. Tables are open tonight. Make a quick call. Reserve your free dinner. foxandhoundsrestaurant.com.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why, when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
To all you tool people out there, has Harbor Freight got a deal for you? Big savings every single day this November. Because we know that right now, when the price of everything only seems to go up, you need a place where prices stay low. So shop in-store or online for quality tools you can trust at prices you'll love every day. Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight.
Built Right Furniture, Leather, and Mattress.
You gotta get to Built Right today.
Election Day is finally here. Keep it tuned here to WTMJ for everything you need to know about the 2024 presidential race. Join us for our special programming starting at 6 p.m. tonight as we go wall to wall through the overnight hours to bring you the latest news and numbers of the presidential race. We are your central headquarters for Election Day coverage. News Radio 620, WTMJ, Milwaukee.
It's 12 o'clock. I'm Greg Matzik. This is Wisconsin's Midday News for Tuesday, November 5th. Your top story, not just Wisconsinites excited for Election Day.
I'm Jessica Ty. One thing you can't do at the polls today.
Mostly cloudy today, windy but mild. Scattered showers and a high of 68. Breezy and cooler tonight, a low of 46. Partly cloudy on Wednesday and a high of 55. 65 and cloudy in Milwaukee at 12:01 from the WTMJ Breaking News Center, Decision, Wisconsin. Polling locations in downtown Milwaukee playing host to more than just voters today.
Battleground Wisconsin catching the eye of many across the country on this election day. At the Zeidler Municipal Building in downtown Milwaukee, the Middle East Broadcast Network had a crew standing by as voters headed to the polls this morning. Meanwhile, the lines at polling locations throughout downtown Milwaukee have been short to non-existent. And at the Baird Center, host of Central Count this evening, already 5 Milwaukee police cars on scene, prepping for what will likely be a very busy night. Out and about in downtown Milwaukee, Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
Smooth voting so far across southeastern Wisconsin. Voter Chris Hayworth in Whitefish Bay.
I was a little surprised that I was only voter number 93, and I was in and out in 5 to 7 minutes.
So quick. Polls are open until 8 o'clock tonight. As long as you are in line at 8, you can vote.
Well, as the race for president remains razor thin, polling for Wisconsin's Senate race also looks pretty tight. President of WisPolitics.com, Jeffrey Mayers, tells WTMJ the results of one race could be indicative of the other.
Usually in presidential election years, the U.S. Senate candidate and the presidential candidate are from the same party. It hasn't been different since 1968.
Mayor says it's been an aggressively negative race overall, with hard negative ads from both challenger Eric Hovde and incumbent Tammy Baldwin.
Sharing your voting experience is a good thing, but the administrator for the Wisconsin Elections Commission reminds the public what you can't share.
Wisconsin law does prohibit anyone from displaying their voted ballot.
So you can take as many selfies at the polls as you want. Just don't post photos or videos of your completed ballot.
Hey, congrats to those who are voting for the first time today. Younger voters headed to the polls around the nation.
In Snellville, Georgia.
My first time voting and with my son.
Montasir Chowdhury cast his ballot, his baby in red and white footy pajamas in his arms.
If we want our kids to follow some footsteps, we should start them young. And, at 11 months old, he came with his dad to the first time voting.
And he had this message for others.
I just hope people treat each other, like a genuine person, not just based on who you vote.
Stacey Lynn, CBS News.
Time for news about your money. The WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. And the Dow is up big time today, about 450 points at 42,237. NASDAQ also seeing big gains, up 255 points at 18,436. S&P 500 climbing today about 68 points at 5779. Elections have consequences. How's your portfolio? Is it time for an update? Your investment and retirement plan? Get it ready with what's next. Click the Get Started button at annexwealth.com.
Up next, we'll get you updated on the NFL's trade deadline day. Sports, traffic, and weather are coming up. Sounding Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 12:04.
Before you go looking for an area rug that you'll have to settle for because you think that the one you really want will be out of your budget, come to Design Exchange, where you'll find a formidable selection of Oriental, Persian, and other wool area rug choices at 25 to 70% off retail. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating tastes come to find premium home decor on consignment at a value. Design Exchange in Heartland and Pewaukee.
Design Exchange.
If you're trying to find really good, high-end, distinctive furniture, the kind they just don't make anymore, then come to Design Exchange. But you better get here quickly, because the best furniture we take in on consignment doesn't usually last long. It may be vintage, it may have once been out of your range, but now you'll find it's priced right. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating tastes come to find premium home decor at a value.
Design Exchange.
Craft your Brewers mini plan for the 2025 season, featuring all new 6-packs and 12-packs. Get in on the action with great ticket rates, marquee matchups, and priority seating. Plus, you'll get a limited edition Brewers Crowler with each 12-pack or pair of 6-packs. Looking to customize your games to fit your schedule? Build your own ticket plan options are also available. Pick the plan for you at brewers.com/ticket finder.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here. We've all got a story about regretting a paint color choice. Let the pros help you. Your neighborhood CertaPro painter can help you with color consultation services. They're the real deal. They've done the painting at my house. They know what they're doing. They're friendly, they're efficient, and they're affordable. Each CertaPro painter's business is independently owned and operated. Schedule your free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. Free estimates, reliable communication, professional painting at the right price. When choosing a painting professional, the choice is simple. Choose happy, choose CertaPro Painters.
Time for WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call, That's All Sports Desk. It is trade deadline day in the NFL. Things quiet for the Packers, at least for now. The Lions execute a trade with the Browns to acquire former Packers linebacker Zadarius Smith. The window to execute a trade closes at 3 o'clock Central Time. And Brewers GM Matt Arnold named League Executive of the Year by his peers.
Let's get you an update on the roads with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. The update, well, there's nothing new. That's a good thing. We are still dealing with a closure, though, out in Waukesha County due to a crash that happened almost 2 hours ago now. Wisconsin 190, better known as Capitol Drive, closed in both directions at Pewaukee Road due to a crash. Once again, that's Capitol at Pewaukee Road out in Waukesha County, closed in both directions because of an earlier crash.
Mostly cloudy, windy, mild, scattered showers possible, a high of 68 degrees. Clouds tonight, the rain should move out, however. A low of 46, partly cloudy on Wednesday and a high of 55. Sun returns on Thursday with a high of 58. 65 degrees and cloudy in Milwaukee at 12:07.
Live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios in downtown Milwaukee, it's Wisconsin's Midday News, making stories come to life. Now, here are your hosts, Greg Matzik and Jessica Ty.
Hour number 2 of Wisconsin's Midday News on WTMJ. Greg and Jessica with you. Hope your day is going well. Hope you've had an opportunity to get out and vote this morning. It's been kind of interesting. They've got all the news stations are out, covering different polling sites on Election Day. And there's waves, right? There's the pre-work wave. There's the lunch wave. There's the post-work wave. There's the after-dinner wave. It is sort of a wave thing. It's interesting to me some of the reports, even coming out of Madison, suggesting it's not all that busy here. Madison, of course, very populated, but the number of votes in the early voting period, significant across the state. So keep that in mind. I don't think it's all too telling if a polling place that you're at a specific time isn't all that busy. Wait till the total votes come in. I feel like it's going to be a record year voting in Wisconsin. Things point to that direction. So it's hard to tell exactly where you are to make it a definitive statement about number of voters.
Oh, for sure. That's actually something I asked the executive director of the Milwaukee Election Commission last week. I said, because we're seeing so many people come out and vote early, do you think that that's going to have an impact on the numbers on Election Day? And she said, I hope so. Because let's be honest, if you have, so many people coming out early, it just makes it easier on the day of. But also, it's not an easy day for any of our elections workers. It is going to be a long night. And we'll see if we know by tomorrow morning who our next president is.
Yeah, that'll be a big question here. 12:09 on WTMJ. Some big stories that we're following here this afternoon.
It's now at noon on Wisconsin's Midday News.
Election Day is finally here. 7 states, including Wisconsin, are likely to decide who will be the next president. Officials in the Badger State have extra security measures in place.
There will be 3,611 polling places in the state of Wisconsin, 42 counting centers, and volunteers in each of those facilities have taken training. In addition, authorities have made arrangements with law enforcement should anything arise. There's extra security, some bulletproof glass, panic buttons in some facilities.
That's CBS's Janet Shamley, and I reached out to the city of Milwaukee officials to see if those panic buttons are at any of the polling locations here. They tell me all of Milwaukee's chief inspectors have been extensively trained in security protocols, but they would not offer any specifics on the possibility of panic buttons.
Well, the rallies are over. Certainly no coasting to the finish line for either campaign. After sweeping through Wisconsin late last week, the Harris and Trump campaigns ended their rallies in other battleground states that could determine the outcome of the election. Former RNC chair and chairman of the Wisconsin Republican Party, Reince Priebus, says keep your eyes on Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania.
Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, the 3 states that we've been talking about so much. Those undecided voters, the 3.5% left today, who are those people? Those people look the same in Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, which is why Trump won all 3 in 2016. Biden won all 3 of those in 2020.
Vice President will spend her day in Washington, D.C., has a number of radio station hits across battleground states, including a hit with 101.7 The Truth, our sister station, coming up at 12:35. She is going to be on with our folks here at 101.7 The Truth. Meanwhile, Harris will spend time tonight at her alma mater, Howard University. As for Trump, he is scheduled to attend a watch party in Florida at the Palm Beach County Convention Center.
Here in Wisconsin, we have a ballot measure that would ban non-citizens from voting. And we're not alone with that question. 7 other states have it on the ballot today, too. Helen Brewer, the National Conference of State Legislatures, says the measures are a solution in search of a problem.
There are 8 states that have ballot measures that, if passed, would clarify that a person must be a citizen in order to vote in an election. It is already the case in all 50 states all across the country that you have to be a citizen in order to vote.
So besides Wisconsin, the other states with that ballot question today are Iowa, Idaho, Kentucky, Missouri, Oklahoma, and then both of the Carolinas. If you haven't voted yet today, that's going to be, you're going to go through, you're going to pick all the candidates who you want to select, and then that question will be at the very end.
I'm very interested in the process and the things that happen behind the scenes once those votes are cast officially. Joel Brennan, who joins us every Thursday in the program, is actually at Central Count. Like he's working today at Central Count. I'm fascinated by this process.
He's going to take us behind the scenes a bit.
Yeah. What's the catering situation like? Is it more subs? Do you go Chinese food on Election Day? Spicy, Thai?
No,
maybe
I don't
pizza?
think you do that.
We've got
Box
questions.
lunch.
Hopefully, yeah, probably. That's probably accurate. Joel Brennan, president of the Greater Milwaukee Committee, will join us from Central Count coming up in just a couple of minutes here. It's 12:12 on WTMJ.
The Political Power Hour with Steve Scafidi.
Political lies are still lies.
Hearing from political experts from across Wisconsin and beyond.
You cannot campaign and take advantage of that suffering by doing things just for yourself. And that's what's happening with some of these people. They don't care about what's reality. They just care about how it's going to advantage them in their political situation. And politics has always been a rough business.
Weekdays from 9 to 10 on WTMJ.
Hey, Greg Matzik here. I want to tell you about Potawatomi Sportsbook. It was nice to see so many people at the Sportsbook last night. Gary Ellerson and I were doing our Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday show. Had a nice crowd settling in for football. There was plenty of basketball on, college and pros. And that's what you'll see at Potawatomi Sportsbook on their 2,000-square-foot video wall. It's incredible. It is massive. It's even curved just perfectly, so if you're in kind of the corner, no problem. You'll still see it. It won't look any different to you, the game that you're watching. Impressive place. The food from the kitchen is outstanding. Full-service bar, VIP deck. What a cool place to hang out. If you've not seen it, it's worth a view and your time. It's Potawatomi Sportsbook, and you'll see all that's new at Potawatomi Casino Hotel in Milwaukee.
Do you know or work with kids who have special healthcare needs? Help them live their best lives. Contact Wisconsin Wayfinder Children's Resource Network. Our specialists will connect you with services in your area. Wisconsin Wayfinder is free and confidential. Call 877-947-2929 or visit dhs.wi.gov/WISCWAY. Connect today. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Department of Health Services.
Hey, Wisconsin, it's Dave from Feldco. Did drafty windows make last winter frigid? Listen, Feldco's here to make things easier for you. It's the perfect time of year to replace those old windows. Right now, get 50% off windows plus no money down and no interest for 1 year. Visit us at 4feldco.com or give us a call at 866-4Feldco.
For quality windows, siding, and doors, call 866-4Feldco.
Kind of breezy, kind of cloudy, kind of rainy today. A high of 68 degrees, overnight low of 46. Rain should move out, however. Clouds on Wednesday and a high of 55. Sun returns on Thursday and a high of 58. 66 and cloudy in Milwaukee at 12:15. Election Day 2024. Greg and Jessica with you on Wisconsin's Midday News. We usually check in with Greater Milwaukee Committee President Joel Brennan on Thursdays, and we'll do that again. But Joel today is being put to work at Central Count, where he joins us. He's like our reporter in the field. Hello, Joel.
Hello, Greg. How are you guys doing?
Are you just on a lunch break right now? What's happening behind the scenes?
Yeah, so my partner and I have finished a couple of wards, 2 out of the, I think there's about 327 wards in Milwaukee. Luckily, we don't have to do all of those. We just have a small portion of them, but we've done a couple, and they're giving us a little bit of a lunch break. Paulina Gutierrez, who's the election commissioner, just had a little press conference talking about things here. So we're on a little break, but I can tell you over here at the Baird Center, it's great to see there are hundreds of people who are either volunteers or are taking the day and getting paid to do this work. And it's Civics 101 in action. It's fun, and it's just, it feels patriotic to be part of.
So, Joel, we have listeners from across the state who listen. Can we just go back to the basics for a moment and remind people what happens at Central Count in Milwaukee today?
Sure. So what happens is there were about 106,000 votes that were cast, either absentee, early votes, military votes, email votes, people who voted early. All those are here at Central Count, and there's a process that they go through to make sure that all by ward, that all the votes are as they should be, and the people who submitted those did so in rightful and legal ways. And when that gets done, ultimately those get put in the tabulators here. And what was just said by Paulina is that only about 4,000 of those 106,000 votes have actually been tabulated by noon, but most of the work is up front. So what I do is my partner and I are going through numbering ballots, numbering envelopes, making sure that people, did all the right stuff and validating that. And then when that happens, ultimately you send them over to a tabulator, people put them through a machine, and then at the end of the night, when all those are added up, that those are put on a flash drive, taken over to Milwaukee County, and ultimately reported. So those 106,000, give or take, ballots will come in kind of in one report later on tonight when all that work is done here.
Joel, you said something interesting that kind of perked up my mind here. What happens if you notice someone did something wrong?
There's dozens, if not probably more than 100 election observers who start to get very interested when that happens. There's a bin for rejected absentee ballots. If someone has had a problem with that, they can work today to find that person and cure those ballots. But those otherwise, there are questions about them. They put aside anything that has a major question about it, and ultimately, if there's something wrong with it, it won't get counted.
Joel Brennan joining us from the Baird Center. Central counts here for Election Day 2024. How long of a day is it for you, Joel? Are there shifts? Do people kind of come and go? We know you're in the most populous county here in the state of Wisconsin.
Yeah, so the shift I'm on started at 8 o'clock, and I signed up for whatever. I'm here for the duration. So however long it takes, I just decided to take the day to do this. Some people can work half days. They may bring in some people, but it looks like they have a good number of volunteers and paid people doing this work. So, again, I'm hoping that I'll be home before sunup, and I'd like to watch some returns later on tonight as they come in. But I'll stick around and be here until they don't need anybody else to do any more counting, sorting, or whatever for supporting this effort.
Joel, I'm fascinated by the idea of a rejected absentee ballot. How often, and I don't know if you know the answer to this, and that's okay, but how often does something like that happen? Or maybe more specifically, have you so far had to reject an absentee ballot? And why would an absentee ballot be rejected? Like, what could someone have possibly done wrong?
So I didn't, in neither of the wards that we worked on, did we have anything that got rejected. I was standing over, there's actually a bin with the rejected absentee ballots or the rejected ballots in it. It probably has 8 or 10 in it. It could be that it's missing a signature and, nobody caught that on the first couple of looks through. You need to have an address and there needs to be a witness signature. So those are the types of things that there can be challenges and problems with, and those happen before you ever even open up the ballot. So it really is, did they do all the paperwork right? And I think, as I look at it, if there's a chance, that's why some of the election observers are here and interested in this. If there's something that's wrong or somebody missed a signature, if they can call that person or find them and they come down and do it and cure that ballot, by all rights, it should be counted. So that's the kind of stuff that goes on election day. And in a time where every vote is in Wisconsin is likely to make some difference, it's important for people to see that those things get done if they can.
It's still early in the day, of course, here, Joel. And I'm wondering if there's any sense from the folks you're working with if it's off to a great start. Wow, Milwaukee is really showing out. There are a number of votes coming in, more than we're used to seeing at this time. Any conversation like that?
I think from hearing from people at the Election Commission, the 106,000 votes that were cast early was more than their projection. Initially, I think the Election Commissioner was projecting somewhere near 80,000. It came in, at a little over 100,000. So I think that was a notion that it was higher than expected. It's not as high as it was in 2020. If you recall back in 2020, that was still a little bit post-COVID, so there was much more of the work going on with the absentee and the early voting there. But it still is it's a good number and a good sign in Milwaukee. I also hear, I don't hear a lot from outside of here, but I think there are lines at the polls and, people who are in line there. So it seemed like this is a strong turnout for the community. But again, I don't have any immediate access or anything that everybody else does know. You guys may have better idea than I am here in the cocoon over at the Baird Center.
Joel, what training did you go through to help out at Central Count today?
They did online training. There were videos. There's also at the station that we work with, you work in pairs, and at the station there is a book that you go through. And by the time you've done a couple of wards, as we have, I think it's we're in a position now where at least we're familiar enough with it. And I'm working with a guy who I don't know, but he's a computer programmer from Harley Davidson, and he does this regularly just because he feels it's like his civic duty. And so he's done it before, and he's familiar with that. So, like, you know, I think you get into a rhythm of doing it that allows you to do it with some efficiency. But it also, you know, I feel like there's a little bit of weight on us by doing this. This is somebody's vote. They worked hard to do it. They deserve the opportunity to make sure it gets counted. So it feels like there's a responsibility and an obligation we have to do it right. So, you know, but I can tell you, it feels good to be here because there's lots of people either who work at City Hall or who used to, and to be able to work at Central Count, you have to be a city resident. So all these people have some stake in the future of the city of Milwaukee, and, you know, that's an important thing too.
What security is in place? Because there's so many absentee ballots there, mine being one of them.
There are uniformed officers that I saw, you know, around and in various places. There's a whole bunch of people whose responsibility it is just to ensure that observers are appropriately keeping the right amount of distance, that they're talking to the people that they can talk to. So I've been impressed with the overall level of organization, security here. You had to walk through a metal detector on the way in here, which I think you do for lots of events at the Baird Center. But on a day like today, it probably makes sense to be able to have that additional level of security, too.
Joel Brennan is the president of the Greater Milwaukee Committee, helping out at Central Count today on his lunch break. Joining us, back to that apple and cookie, Joel. Appreciate it.
Great insight, Joel.
Thanks, guys.
Yep.
Talk to you on Thursday.
Yeah, it sounds good. Joel Brennan. That's really interesting stuff. Fascinating stuff.
It is fascinating. Just to kind of, you know, peels back the curtain. He takes us behind the scenes. Yeah, fabulous.
1224 on WTMJ.
Get the help you need Saturday morning with How To Radio. At 7, it's the WTMJ Fix-It Show with David Nason, featuring this week's guests, Olson's Outdoor Power Equipment and National Fire Sprinkler Association. At 9, plan your dream vacation with the Fox World Travel Show. Yet at 10, get financial guidance during Money Talk. Contact NX Wealth Management for an unbiased review of your investments at nxwealth.com. How To Radio, Saturday mornings on WTMJ.
Since 1955, Geis has been the trusted garage authority in Wisconsin. WTMJ's Greg Matzik reminding you not to let that busted garage door get you down. I made a call to Geis last week. We just needed some of the stripping fixed at our garage door frame. It's just starting to peel away, and that's fine. No problem. Not a big job, but didn't matter for Geis. They came out and fixed it. Looks fantastic. And if I had a bigger issue, Geis would be there to help as well. Big or small, doors for every budget. They've got great brands like CHI and LiftMaster. They can go the custom route for you as well if that's what your project requires. It's Geis. You know the name. Did you know they're located in Brookfield, right off Barker Road? Stop in. See the showroom. They'll even come out to you. Don't think twice. Call Geis and visit GeisDoors.com.
Every so often in medicine, something comes along that is truly revolutionary.
Dr. Mitchell Scheinkup, former orthopedic surgeon, now National Medical Director at QC Kinetics.
I believe this is one of those things.
Dr. Scheinkup is talking about regenerative medicine, something he's practiced, researched, and written about for nearly 2 decades.
The old ways of dealing with joint pain, such as steroids and surgery, are no longer the best ways.
If you have pain from arthritis or injury, you owe it to yourself to learn more about this exciting option, using your own body's natural power to get lasting relief. And there's no better place to learn than QC Kinetics.
There is no one in this country today with more clinics, more satisfied patients, more advanced protocols, or more experience in using this exciting option to deliver life-changing results.
Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
Hey, time for a ticket giveaway. If you're looking to laugh a little bit tomorrow at Fiserv Forum, you can do it. Sebastian Maniscalco will perform at Fiserv Forum tomorrow night, part of the It Ain't Right tour. He's funny. He's good. He's legit good. He's one of those comedians, if you spend some time on social media, you can see clips of his stuff. he's in like the hot rotation of comedians in that space right now.
And don't we all need a laugh at this point?
Absolutely.
Yes.
And Sebastian Maniscalco is a funny comedian. Check him out, Pfizer Forum tomorrow night, and we've got 2 tickets to give away. Caller number 3. Let's do caller number 3 at 855-616-1620. Why not laugh a little bit here midweek? Sebastian Maniscalco at Pfizer Forum tomorrow. Caller number 3 gets a pair of tickets. 855-616-1620.
Hey, it's 620 WTMJ's Kristen Bry. I officially have a new dentist. I just had my first cleaning and checkup with Dr. James Michaels at Economawalk Dental Care, and I can't say enough about him and his awesome staff. Do you want your best smile for all those holiday family photos that are coming up? Have you not been to the dentist in a while? Do you have a fear of going to the dentist? Whatever reason you have for needing a new dentist, I am here to tell you to go see Dr. Michaels. He understands your apprehension about going to the dentist and will get you on the best care plan to get you confident about your smile. Whether you need a simple cleaning and exam, a teeth whitening, a more complex dental procedure, or even an implant for missing teeth, Economawalk Dental will always make you feel as comfortable as possible and give you and your family an amazing smile. Are you worried about cost? At Economawalk Dental Care, affordable quality dentistry is no longer a dream. It's the reality. Dr. Michael's fantastic staff can help you out with a no-interest payment plan. We all have to go to the dentist, so do not put it off any longer. Call and make an appointment today. You deserve to feel confident about your smile, so go see my new dentist, Dr. James Michaels at Economawalk Dental Care.
In 1964, we were making strides towards space travel.
Mary Poppins was the #1 movie in theaters.
And the Beatles were taking America by storm.
Which was long before I was born.
Facts. 1964 is also the year it all started for Richland's Tire and Service Centers. 60 years of continuous growth and more happy customers than you can shake a stick at.
Okay, the streamers are a bit overkill. It's just us in the studio.
Well, all right. But it's important to know, accomplishments like these aren't possible without a dedicated team. So hats off to them and our founder, my dad, Dick Mitschke, for understanding the importance of customer focus.
Facts. There's no 60 years of anything without you, the customer, which is why our focus will remain on you and only you for years to come.
Thank you from all of us here at Richland's Tire and Service Centers.
Richland's Tire and Service, such a refreshing change. Richland's.
It's 12:30. I'm Greg Matzik. This is Wisconsin's Midday News for Tuesday, November 5th. Your top story, Election Day lines are moving.
I'm Jessica Ty. What's on the ballot in our southern counties?
Mostly cloudy, windy, mild today. Scattered showers possible in a high of 68. Cool tonight at a low of 46. 66 and cloudy in Milwaukee.
This is a special report from ABC News, Your Voice, Your Vote. I'm Michelle Franzen. Candidates Kamala Harris and Donald Trump off the trail today. The former president voted in Florida. His running mate, J.D. Vance, cast his ballot in his home state of Ohio and sounded optimistic.
You never know until you know, but I feel good about this race. I felt good about my own race a couple of years ago when I voted in this exact same spot.
Voters also weighing in on other key races and measures.
America is making its choice, not just for the 47th president, but for the 119th Congress. Every seat in the House is on the ballot, as well as 34 seats in the Senate. Voters in 10 states, including the key battlegrounds of Arizona and Nevada, will decide whether abortion rights should be enshrined into law. Most political observers believe the outcomes may not be known tonight, but voters have surprised the pundits before.
ABC's Stephen Portnoy. Election officials in North Carolina and Georgia reporting that so far no issues as Americans head to the polls. This is ABC News.
Citing at limited WTMJ News Time is 12:31. Decision Wisconsin, early voting across southeastern Wisconsin.
Here in West Allis, at one of the polling places at the rec department, it seems to be rolling along pretty smoothly inside.
I was really nervous that it was going to be extremely long lines. It was actually pretty easy, pretty nice, and the weather held out, so I love it.
In years past, they have had lines around the building. This time, it's just a steady flow of voters doing their civic duty. Outside the polling place at the West Allis Park and Rec Department, Debbie Lazaga, WTMJ News.
I'm Vince Petrano in the village of Greendale, southern Milwaukee County, community of only about 14,000 people, more than 5,000 of whom voted absentee ahead of this election day. Still, 17 minutes door-to-door to vote in a steady line late this morning. No classes for students here as several schools serve as voting sites. Race to watch, Bob Donovan trying to keep his seat and Republican control of the Wisconsin State Assembly, facing a challenge from Democrat Luann Byrd. Vince Vitrano, WTMJ News.
A lengthy ballot for voters in Racine and Kenosha counties features a high-profile race, including the top Republican lawmaker in Madison.
In Racine County's newly drawn Assembly District 33, Speaker Robin Voss is running against one of the people who was involved in a failed recall effort against him earlier this year. Kelly Clark of Sturtevant called on citizens to sign the recall petition and is running in the race as an independent. Also running in the race, Democrat Alan Kupczyk of Lake Geneva. There will also be 3 Racine County school referendums on the ballot in Union Grove, Waterford, and the town of Raymond, as well as a race for Kenosha County District Attorney between Democrat Carly McNeil and Republican Xavier Salas. Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
Well, once it's filled out and scanned, what's next in the life cycle of a ballot? Shorewood Village Clerk Toya Harrell explains.
So after a ballot is scanned in and you see that it's been returned on your My Vote page, the ballot is then securely locked away.
In Milwaukee, the clerk's department receives ballots, then sends them to Central Count, where all ballots are counted on Election Day.
An autopsy is scheduled today for a Milwaukee alderman. Jonathan Brostoff died at Greenfield Park in West Allis. The Milwaukee County Medical Examiner's Office is investigating his death as a suicide. Alderman Brostoff represented District 3 on Milwaukee's east side for the last 2 years. The 41-year-old previously served as Wisconsin's 19th state assembly rep. Brostoff is survived by his wife and 3 kids.
Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Siding Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 12:34.
You're not just a job number as a Sidex customer. They've been family-owned since 1988, and they treat you as part of their family. Upgrade and transform your current bathroom space with Sidex Windows Siding and Bath. They have seasoned design consultants with 10 to 30 years of experience. The owner, Joe, is honoring his dad's legacy with top-tier products and expert craftsmanship. It's Sidex, the best in the business. Get a free shower door upgrade when you mention WTMJ. Visit sidexremodel.com.
At Blaine's Farm and Fleet, we're the cold weather experts, offering unbeatable deals on the gear and supplies you need to get ready for winter. Like 30% off all zero exposure outerwear for the family. All Trico wiper blades are buy one, get one half price. Get $120 instant savings when you buy 4 Cooper tires. Rewards members save an extra $50. Plus, get up to $100 in additional savings by consumer rebate when you buy 4.
Find value at Blaine's Farm and Fleet.
Libby Collins here for my friends at Seniors Helping Seniors of Waukesha. They know maintaining independence is one of the greatest concerns for seniors, and that's why for over a decade, they've been serving southeastern Wisconsin, offering personalized in-home care to fit each senior's unique needs. From help with daily tasks like bathing, meal prep, and transportation, to companionship and light housekeeping, caregivers make it possible for seniors to stay in the homes they love without a contract. Interested in becoming a caregiver? Contact Seniors Helping Seniors today. shswaukesha.com.
Panic strikes as you realize on Wednesday that Thursday is your anniversary. The reservations being secured.
We'll see you at 8.
The gift being purchased. Yeah, you've got this. Just like Associated Bank's got you with early pay up to 2 days early on direct deposits. So even though they call you Last Minute Lisa, we'll make your last minute scrambling a bit easier. You've got this with early pay from Associated Bank. See associatedbank.com/checking or ask a banker for details. Member FDIC.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call, That's All Sports Desk. It is trade deadline day in the NFL. Quiet on the Packers front, at least for now. Trade deadline window expires at 3 o'clock today. That window will close. The Lions execute a trade with the Browns. They'll acquire former Packers linebacker Zadarius Smith. And Brewers GM Matt Arnold named Executive of the Year. In Major League Baseball, it's an award where peers selected Arnold as the winner.
Let's get you an update on the roads right now with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. I do have an update for you. There's a new crash that just popped up. This one in Kenosha County, 4194 North. It's pretty close to Wisconsin 158. The right shoulder is blocked due to an accident, and I'm taking a peek right now at the cameras for you. I can see a truck out there, and it looks like definitely emergency responders are already out there. The good news about this spot is that shoulder is pretty large, so traffic is moving along okay right by. People are slowing down just a little bit because, it's kind of just one of those things people like to do. They like to look, see what's going on out there, but traffic is moving pretty A-okay. Looks like this could be cleared soon, so we'll keep our fingers crossed on that. We also still are dealing with, out in Waukesha County, the one crash that we've seen for, it's about going on almost 3 hours now. Wisconsin 190 is closed, also better known as Capitol Drive. Capitol Drive at Pewaukee Road is closed due to a crash, so use an alternative route.
Traffic is sponsored by Hall Mazda Milwaukee. Visit hallmazdamilwaukee.com.
Help fellow commuters. Report accidents and slowdowns to the Hall Volkswagen Traffic Tip Line. 414-238-9329. Visit Hall Volkswagen during Volkswagen Sign Then Drive event.
Mild temperatures, it's going to be breezy, going to be at times rainy today with a high of 68 degrees, overnight low of 46, 55 and cloudy on Wednesday. Sun comes back on Thursday with a high of 58 degrees. It is 66 and cloudy in Milwaukee at 12:38. WTMJ's Eric Bilstad is out in Menominee Falls at Davians Conference Center. It's right off Silver Spring. That's kind of the main polling place for much of Menominee Falls, especially that southern part of Menominee Falls. Early voting was at Village Hall off Pilgrim Road. I did the early voting. Bilstad, I believe, did as well with his son, who's a first-time voter. And now Eric is out with the happenings at Davians in Menominee Falls. Hey, Eric, what are you seeing out there today?
Hello, happy election day to you guys as well. So yes, Davians, this is located for Silver Spring, Greg, you're right by the Kohl's headquarters. It's wards 13 through 18. So they have 6 wards here. And so far, so good. Poll workers are telling me that earlier they had a little bit of a crush early on, but things actually through this lunch hour are steady, but not overwhelming by any means. It's about a 10-minute wait. And I just spoke to a woman who said she was about number 220 in her ward. So if you multiply that by 6, you can see how many people have probably come through this stretch already today. The village itself, you mentioned the early voting. The village itself had 53% vote early. So half of those who were likely to vote or were already registered to vote have already done so in the entire village of Menominee Falls before today even started.
I'm kind of curious who you're seeing in line. Is it a little bit of everything? Young, old, men, women, all different ethnicities? I'm wondering, number one, just as far as the timing on Election Day, and if it is going to be any different as far as the demographics as to who chose to vote early and who's still going on Election Day.
I've seen married couples, what looks to be a couple of blue-collar workers. So, yeah, it's been a variety, Jessica, there. I do find it interesting what you said, though, because I did catch a guy here who I wanted to see how long it would take him. I'm kind of looking for him now, waiting for him to come back out. But he told me that, I just asked him, I'm like, why'd you vote today? Why didn't you do it early like other folks? And he said, he's like, I just want to see the ballot and just do it. He's like, he wasn't anti or afraid to vote early, but he was almost intimidated at the idea of having to do the thing with the ballot and all that, where he just wanted to get his ballot and put it through the machine and be done with it. But I also talked to a woman, the one who was telling me that she was 220 or whatever. She was saying that she's been trying to vote early for multiple times, and she could never get in because the line was always like 30-minute long and all that. So she was like, I had to vote today because I had no other choice. I kept trying to vote early, and I couldn't because the Falls just always had a long line at Village Hall.
Really interesting stuff. Can you describe the mood too, Eric? Right, we've talked about some of these polling places having DJs and just sort of making it kind of an event and sort of upping the energy. Is that happening in Menominee Falls?
So I've been to a couple of polling spots. I also stopped at the one in Brookfield, or one of the ones in Brookfield, right there off of Calhoun near, Brookfield Central. And very quiet. Just people are just coming in and voting and being on their way. You say hello to them and they smile and all that, but no, there's no, at least the polling spots that I've been to, there's no DJs, there's no music. There's just people just looking to get this done and get out of here as quick as they can. Not because they don't want to vote, but it's just something that you do. You're right. And they either are doing it before they're running an errand or they're doing it in between going back to work. I haven't picked up on like an actual excitement, meaning that they're so excited and looking forward to it. Now, part of that could be because there's a fear of electioneering and that type of thing. But no, I'm not picking up on that kind of mood. However, I'll tell you this, like this district is fascinating though. Like, so guys, I'm in Waukesha County right now. So this is I'm part of the WOW counties, right? So this is Waukesha County. We also have Ozaukee County, and you have Washington counties. And that's that Republican stronghold, or it always has been, and that's softened of late. You haven't seen quite the numbers you used to. And you also have a huge district in this, a state Senate district here, District 8, and that's the Dewey Strobel district. He's being challenged by Jody Habush-Sinekin. And that one also combines all three of those counties. It has a piece of all three of those counties, also a little bit of Milwaukee County to the north. So I just find that whole district to be very interesting. There's a lot of money being put into that race. Obviously, it's a very important race for those who have been donating to it. And I'm very curious if that could play a little bit of a role. Could this be a barometer of what you see either statewide with the Tammy Baldwin and Eric Hovde race, or potentially nationally with the race for president? You know, it's not apples and apples, but there's a little bit of a combination of all these different counties, all these different demographics. What could that tell us later on once they count all of the ballots?
Yeah, it's a really interesting point, Eric, because in Waukesha County, right, that it's typically been more of a Republican county. I'll be curious to see if maybe there is a little more of a lean toward Kamala Harris, but if Eric Hovde wins, sort of going away. I'd be curious to see just how things break down. I just think it's an election unlike anything that we've ever seen with the candidates here.
Well, and what makes it so interesting too, Greg, is that it's so hard to do the exit polling for this election. And here's why. You have some people that have already turned in ballots. And there's a discrepancy there. In Waukesha County, I told you already that 53% of Menominee Falls has already voted before today. In Waukesha County, 168,000 people have already voted. They voted in early voting. But that number is much, much lower in Washington County. So what does that say? You know, what could we learn differently as to who voted where and when and how, and learning what people are leaning or the trends? It's so much more difficult this time around than in any other election I think we've ever gone through.
Yeah, this whole chapter for this election, I mean, just page after page after page has been a wild ride. I know a lot of people are feeling like we're just ready for this to be done. We'll see whether we know tomorrow morning who our next president is. Not sure if we will. I wanted to ask you, Eric, too, since your son, this was his first time voting. What was that experience like as a dad to watch your son vote for the first time, especially in an election like this one in 2024?
Right? Oh, it was awesome, Jessica. It was so cool. And he was very intrigued by the process. And what I tried so hard to do is answer any questions that he would have, but not tell him what to do. I didn't want him, if he had any questions, I'd be happy to provide, but I didn't want to go in there and be like, this is what you need to do, and this is who you vote for. And I told him straight up, I'm like, hey man, you're going to see a lot of names you don't recognize. There's going to be a lot of races you're not quite sure of. So it's up to you to ask me questions about it, or to go through it yourself and do any reading or whatnot that you want to do about it. So he was excited about it. I think he was a little intimidated at the process. We did the early voting, and he had to sit there and answer questions when he did the registration to register to vote and to go through it. But for me, it was just cool to tell him how important this is and how cool it is. I'm like, man, don't take this for granted. This is a pretty remarkable thing. People have died to do this. So the fact that you're doing it on this random day, before the election, appreciate that. And don't ever not vote. Please make sure you vote every time was basically my biggest message.
Yeah, and you're headed back to the station before too long, right? You and Vinny are anchoring coverage, starting at 6 o'clock tonight?
Yeah, so we're on 6 to 8. So we're the pregame before the polls close. I know you guys will be out doing things after 8 o'clock as well. And then as we go into the early morning hours, so I know Mercure and Jessica and Greg, you're going to be out and about tonight. And then Steve Scaffidi's on through the overnight. And then depending on if there's any dramatic change, we'll be on, Vince and I, at least starting at 5A, if not even sooner, dramatic or not, if something is really big. But yeah, we'll be back at it real early tomorrow to make sure you know what is happening and when.
I'm not going to lie, how great is our promotion for this day? It's very Wisconsin because you've got Vince and Eric on from 6 to 8, and it's called pregame.
Yeah.
That's very Wisconsin, right?
Pregame. Yeah, it'll be tailgating.
Yes.
And then John and I will be on from 8 to 11, and we'll also have analysis from Dr. Ken and Kristen Bry. Mm-hmm. And then following that, it will be Steve Scafidi all night is what we're calling that one.
Well, and just reporters in the field. Julia's going to be out. I'll be at the Ingleside for the Republican Party's party. And we've got folks out in Madison with Eric Hovde and Tammy Baldwin as well. So we're covered all over the state here today.
Oh, it's going to be great.
Appreciate it, Eric. Thanks for checking in, man.
Thanks, guys. Happy Election Day, everybody.
You bet. 1247 on WTMJ.
Career politician Tammy Baldwin wasted trillions of dollars and created crushing inflation. Baldwin opened our borders and gave taxpayer benefits to illegal immigrants. And she voted to put men in girls' sports. Enough is enough. Businessman Eric Hovde will stop inflation, secure the border, and defend our Wisconsin values. Here's Eric Hovde.
You have a clear choice in this election. Senator Baldwin is a 38-year career politician. I'm a businessman and job creator. She supports taxpayer benefits for illegal immigrants. I'll close the border. Tammy wants to put guys in girls' sports and in their bathrooms. I'll protect our daughters. Senator Baldwin abuses the political system. I'll fight the corruption. I'm Eric Hovde, candidate for U.S. Senate, and I approve this message. Join my team and give today.
Visit WisconsinVictoryJFC.com to give today. Paid for by Wisconsin Victory Committee.
Fleet Farm's got everything you need for everyday life. Brands from Carhartt to Milwaukee to Purina to Goodyear to Rapala to Levi's and a whole lot more. In-store or online, check out all the brands Fleet Farm carries to help make your everyday life better.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Steve and Ashley heard our radio ads over the years, and when it came time to buy their first home, they clicked on the blue button. We sent them a credit-verified pre-approval the same day and upgraded to a rock-solid, fully verified and guaranteed pre-approval shortly thereafter. We also let them know about AccuNet's property-specific pre-approval, where we might be able to include those magic words, no appraisal required. When they wrote their next offer, several $1,000s over asking to make sure someone else didn't end up sleeping in their dream home, their property-specific rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval did include that most powerful phrase, no appraisal required, and the sellers picked Steve and Ashley's offer over several others. If you think all mortgage lenders and pre-approvals are the same, think again. Go with the local mortgage lender that has the tools and know-how to help you win. We'll also likely save you $1,000 to $3,000 in closing costs for exactly the same rate as your bank. Whether you're looking to buy or refi, click on the blue button today at ACCUNET.com.
Okay, close your mouth and take a deep breath in through your nose. So the way it's supposed to be is that you should be able to breathe easily. You shouldn't feel constrained. What it should feel like is air briskly flowing freely through both nasal passages, day and night. And if not, there's a problem. And it's a don't know what your problem really was until you got it fixed kind of problem. You're living with it. I mean, you're tired a lot. It might give you headaches and sinus pressure, but you're living with it. Yeah, you sound like almost every patient we help until we get their problem fixed. And then you hear them saying, why would I put up with that? Advent will get you breathing freely again with simple in-office solutions like turbinate reduction along with balloon sinuplasty that really can change your life.
To date, Advent has solved over 40,000 breathing triangle problems. Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. AdventKnows.com. Results may vary.
Kind of cloudy, kind of rainy, but mild temperatures today and a high of 68 degrees, overnight low of 46. Partly cloudy tomorrow with a high of 55. Sun comes back on Thursday with a high of 58 degrees. 65 and cloudy in Milwaukee at 12:50.
Election Day. It is here. No matter who wins, this election is likely to mark a turning point in the nation's history. ABC's Stephen Portnoy reports.
It's a race that had an entirely different shape just 108 days ago when Joe Biden was still the Democratic nominee. Kamala Harris hopes to become the first woman elected commander-in-chief. Donald Trump hopes to be the first president since Grover Cleveland to win 2 non-consecutive terms. Longtime political observers say they can't recall an election that has felt less predictable. It could take days for decisive returns to come in, or we might know tonight.
Gosh, we might know tonight, and we might not.
Well, we do know the results in New Hampshire. Did you see this? So there's this little town in New Hampshire.
With the 2 people? Or is it 6?
There's 6.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's tied, right? Kamala had 3 votes.
Go figure. Of course it's tied.
Donald Trump had 3 votes. So this is kind of a tradition, right? There's this little town called Dixville Notch, New Hampshire. They opened and closed its doors just after midnight Eastern. It's a decades-old tradition. It's what they do. Everybody knows each other, right? They're probably all related. I say that in jest. But nonetheless, Harris and Trump tied with 3 votes each in this tiny New Hampshire town. So I guess you could say the race is officially tied because nothing else has really been counted. That's the official tally that we have. It's going to be quite some time before these districts and wards and whatnot wrap things up for the day. But I love that little tiny town in New Hampshire. It feels like a good place to kick things off. Maybe Delaware, I don't know, somewhere out east just seems to make sense. But a tie, if you want to look at things officially.
It is a fun tradition for them out there, that's for sure. But I almost get the goosebumps when I think about the fact that it is Election Day. It is here now. Think about if we go back to July. I mean, this was a presidential campaign unlike any other, and it ends really soon. It was full of so many dramatic moments. You had not one, but two assassination attempts against Donald Trump. You had Trump's criminal conviction. You had the late departure of Joe Biden, the replacement with Kamala Harris, who would be the first female president if elected. We'll see. And today's the day. Today's the day Americans have their say after all of that.
I have done more on social media with the election this year than in years past. And part of it is just, just sort of the cycle of how I consume information. You got to be careful what you get. And just you have to understand going in that, only the highlights, air quote, highlights are pulled and placed in front of your face. That's how the algorithms work. But the candidates' abilities to pivot and pounce is something that will stand out to me about this entire situation, looking to deflect some of the naysayers or some of those negative headlines. Both parties have had to do that.
Oh, yeah.
And they've done it with remarkable nimbleness. The amount of opportunities for rallies to be hosted in Wisconsin. Not uncommon. It's a battleground state, but incredible focus on Wisconsin. Just last week, having them both separated by, 7 or 8 miles? That's incredible to think about when you're just days away from a shaping election like this one is.
Oh, and here in Milwaukee, Trump and Harris spent the night. So they weren't even that far. They were just blocks away when they spent the night here in Milwaukee before they went on Saturday to the next battleground stop. You talk about Kamala Harris. This was the shortest presidential campaign in modern day history. So when you mention pivoting, man, did she pivot. And then Trump, he had to pivot so fast, too, because all of a sudden, you're not going against the person you thought you were.
A big shift in strategy.
Wow. Yeah, it's just unbelievable. And you think about how expensive this race has been. Most expensive race in modern day history. Most unpredictable, that's for sure.
Every turn. It seems like a year ago that the RNC was here. That was just a few months ago.
Yeah, and there's so many other changes, too. I mean, you have beefed up security, not just here in Wisconsin, but across the country. You have... You also have a lot of people, let's just put it this way, that are just ready for it to be done.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. The saturation point in advertising hit long ago for me. I did after I voted. I noticed that the text messages really dropped off very quickly. After that, they started to trickle out, I'd say about a day or so after. And then they just a couple random pops here over the last several days. But yes, so voting will stop tonight. The results won't necessarily be known tonight, I don't think. I feel like this is going to drag into tomorrow. Pretty safe to say that's going to be the case. And we're here. We got you covered really all day and all night long here on WTMJ.
Yeah, just a reminder that we've got coverage all day as we normally do, but then we have special election coverage for you. We've got the pregame set up with Eric Bilstad and Vince Vitrano from 6 to 8. Then John McCure and I will jump on from 8 to 11 with Dr. Ken Harris doing some analysis and Kristen Bry from Spanning the State. Then from 11 until 5 a.m., it's Steve Scafidi and special guests. And Greg, I know you're going to be out there.
Yep.
And Julia's going to be out there, and all of our reporters are going to be out there. So we've got you covered at any time. Whenever you want to tune in, when it's convenient for you, we're going to be on.
Well, we hope you enjoy the conversation that will continue here throughout the course of the day, and we hope you find it informative. 12:56 news coming up in just a few.
The only place to get this.
He will hand up to Giannis. Look out below. Oh, hide the women and children.
With a little bit of this.
I don't understand how that is an issue.
Do you need me to call Torian Prince so he can explain how you rebound?
I mean,
get it all on Bucks Talk, your all-encompassing Milwaukee Bucks postgame show with Justin Garcia and Brandon Snide. Only heard here on the home of the Bucks, WTMJ.
Do you know how taxes will impact your golden years? I'm Tony Drake from Drake & Associates. Proper tax planning can make all the difference in your retirement savings. Without the right strategy, taxes can take a big bite out of your hard-earned nest egg. We can help you maximize your retirement income